Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, Mortus here, and welcome to my top 10 games list of 2016. Now, as we know, 2016 has been kind of an unrelenting year. I mean, we've lost a lot of influential people, the US is in a period of transition, and people in general just kind of seem to be bummed out. But, you know, it's been a pretty good year for games. I mean, I was actually surprised by the number of AAA titles on my list this year, because, you know, the last few years has pretty much just been indie games. Now, understand that this is my own personal list. This is games that I have played. I'm sure there are some others out there that people would argue are better games than what are on this list, but this is my list, so meh. Anyways, let's begin. Now, this list was difficult for me to parse down because there was a lot of really fun games that I played this year. So, before we begin with the actual top 10, I just wanted to give a couple of shout-outs to games that almost made the list, but not quite. There was Enter the Gungeon, which was a fun little roguelike dungeon crawler, you know, with just a wide variety of guns, and yeah, it was a good time killer. It was really fun. The next one was Stardew Valley, which was just basically my kick back and relax game. Like, I had no clear goal on that game. I was just kind of going with the motions, but it was nice to just turn my brain off and just chill. The next one would be Darkest Dungeon, which I'm surprised didn't make the list, but I also didn't play it as much as I thought I would, mainly because I think I kind of got fatigued of it based on playing a lot of the beta, so that may have kind of hurt it, or hurt my idea of it a little bit. And the final game is Dead by Daylight, which is an asymmetric horror survival game that pits 4 survivors against 1 killer. And it let me be Michael Myers, so that was pretty cool. It has a lot of balance and glaring issues and stuff, but the gameplay itself was pretty fun, so I enjoyed it. Anyways, let's go ahead and move on to the actual top 10. Number 10. Pony Island. Pony Island is a game that's kind of difficult to discuss because the entire game is wrapped in multiple layers of spoilers. There's a game, there's a metagame, there's a metagame of the metagame. I mean, hell, you go so far as to exploring the actual game files just to get some more secrets. I definitely didn't unravel all the secrets of this game when I first played it, but the time that I did spend with it was really enjoyable and really messed with my head. So I do plan on going back eventually once all the previous secrets kind of get expunged from my memory. But if you enjoy games that kind of mess with your perception, it's not a bad game. It really isn't, and it's very inexpensive, so I recommend it highly. Number 9. Inside. Inside is a follow-up game from the people that brought us Limbo, and it was one of the most beautifully animated games I think I've played in a really long time. The world that they built was colorful, yet bleak. The puzzles that they introduced were nice brain teasers, but ultimately they weren't that difficult once you got your head wrapped around the concepts. And although I'm still not quite sure, I think there was actually a story, too. I don't know. I was too busy enjoying the many ways that I could have my voiceless, and this time faceless, protagonist, you know, be rendered unalive. It was pretty cool. Also, the end was kind of weird. But yeah, it was a good ride. I enjoyed it. Number 8. Dark Souls 3. Dark Souls 3 is a feel-good game that is fair, balanced, and rewards you for your determination and skill. The world is gorgeous, the combat is not at all clunky, and the enemies are quite pleasant to look at. But in all seriousness, Dark Souls 3 was a return to form. I mean, they took what worked best from both of the prior iterations of Dark Souls and combined them into a fantastic game that you just love to be endlessly frustrated with, until that one shining moment of clarity where everything meshes and you slay that stupid nameless king. You know, it took me a while to warm up to the idea of Dark Souls. I had never even heard of the Souls series until Dark Souls 2 came out. I gave it a go, got frustrated, and packed it in. Then, after a while, I started slowly going back into it. You know, I started realizing what the gameplay actually was, and then the idea of wanting to get good as it is really made it more enjoyable. I mean, after beating Dark Souls 2, I went back and played the original Dark Souls, and when the third installment came out, I was just full-on praising the sun. Yeah. Number 7. Superhot. Superhot proved to me that I am in fact a ninja. All it took was the ability to stop time around me while I plan out my next moves, which is totally a thing I can do. So Superhot was one of the most enjoyable experiences this year in terms of just sheer badassery. I would casually stroll into an office building and notice that there was some rather ominous red figures charging at me with malice in their, well, I'd say eyes, but they didn't actually have any. So I'd grab a nearby briefcase, quickly vault over a cubicle partition, and hurl it towards the nearest aggressor. As the briefcase strikes his shimmering figure, his shotgun releases from his hands and tumbles end over end. I catch it in midair, swing it around, and dispatch 2 more assailants. From behind, I hear a fourth preparing to fire his assault rifle at me. So I spin onto my heels and throw the shotgun end over end, striking him in the face with the butt of it. And then more madness ensued. And then eventually I failed horribly and had to do it all over again. But it was still glorious. I loved it. Number 6. Overwatch. Hands down one of the best online multiplayer shooters that I've played in a long time. I mean, I grew up on FPS games, and for quite a while kind of wished that they would go away from the whole gritty, brown-stained, realistic shooters that become the staple of FPS games, and go back to a time where things were, well, fun. I mean, while Team Fortress 2 had this for a time, I kind of stopped playing that altogether when they started introducing the multitude of hats. It just became too bloated for me. But Overwatch has revitalized the idea that each character can be unique without having to constantly alter them. Of course, I'm also a Junkrat spammer, so my opinion probably counts for a little bit less. Number 5. Titanfall 2. Titanfall 2 surprised me. I had played the original Titanfall for all of about 2 hours before I quickly grew bored of it and just moved on. I didn't even have an intention of purchasing the sequel until I noticed people just raving about the single-player campaign. Yeah, I was leery, but there were enough people whose opinions I actually respect when it comes to video games saying that it was good, so I decided to give it a go. And they were right! I mean, the single-player campaign is an amazing ride that, although short, kind of just did everything right. It introduced some interesting gameplay mechanics and made sure that each level felt like its own instead of just retreading the same ideas over and over to pad out the gameplay. It would have made it higher on the list, but unfortunately the multiplayer still has its issues. I mean, the movement-based combat is fun, but the PC player base is already dwindling, and so you kind of have to keep playing the same modes over and over again, and it gets kind of boring, rather. And the other problem is that they locked a lot of the tools that helped less skilled player from the first game. They put it behind a higher level cap. Like, I do believe the smart pistol is locked behind like a level 42 upgrade or something like that. That doesn't help people out that much, so that may drive some people away as well. But all in all, I would say that the single-player campaign was worth it, at least for me. Number 4. Sid Meier's Civilization VI. Now, if you've never played a Civilization game before, let me give you a quick rundown of a normal game. It's about 4 p.m. on a Saturday. You figure you sit down and just play for a little bit. So, you start up a game, choose your civ, spend the next hour or so beating back barbarians as you try to slowly build a foundation for your capital city. Then you start to expand. You start meeting city-states who, they say hello in passing, and then just kind of sit in the corner doing whatever it is they do. You then meet your first civilization. They seem friendly. So you immediately begin building an army. You realize that you've been playing for a little bit of a while and should probably take a break. But you're almost done with that research that will open up new units. Just one more turn, it'll be alright. You awake from a daze, and you see that Gandhi is pissed at you for some reason. You look at the time, it's 9 p.m. It's also Tuesday. Your cat has murderous intent in her eyes because of the lack of feedings. Yeah, it also has a glorious soundtrack. Number 3. Planet Coaster. Planet Coaster is an absolutely beautiful theme park management and design game that I still have yet to play properly. You see, when I was a wee lad, I used to play an old DOS game called Disney's Coaster. This was an old game that was just all about designing and riding roller coasters. I'd play it for hours, just trying to constantly one-up myself in the most absurd and enjoyable coasters that I could think of. And Planet Coaster has brought back just a beautiful nostalgia of those times for me. And all I've ever done in the game is design roller coasters. I haven't built a park, I have not managed so much as a bathroom. All I've done is build roller coasters, and I just love every minute of it. Number 2. Thumper. Thumper, to me, is the perfect rhythm game. I mean, it's not uplifting music, it's not loud electronic music, it's not always even coherent music. What it is a game about beats. It's about timing, about hopping, flying, and drifting your way through levels to try to chain together the perfect sequence. It's a game that will frustrate you, forcing you to relive the same areas over and over until you can nail it. The gameplay, while simplistic in its design, just becomes so much more complex as time progresses. But when you roll through that entire level, which is divided into multiple sections, and you get that S rank on everything, you feel euphoric. You know that you fought the devil and won. Number 1. Watch Dogs 2. Now, for the longest time, I've been feeling the effects of open world fatigue. There have been so many games that have been released with open world designs that didn't even need it, and it really sapped the enjoyment out of those games for me. The last one that I could even remember enjoying was GTA 5, and I didn't even really play that as an open world game. I didn't do side missions, I didn't do explorations, I simply ran through the story. But then came Watch Dogs 2. Now, I had never played the original Watch Dogs. I was too put off by the horrendous pre-order model that Ubisoft came up with for it, and when it actually released, the reviews on it were enough for me to just give it a solid pass. So, when Watch Dogs 2 was announced, I paid it no mind. I never kept up with its development cycle, I never gave it a passing thought when I heard it released. But then the reviews came in. People liked this game. So, during a gaming slump, I decided to pick it up. And, well, it's my number 1 for a reason. This is an open-world game done right. For me, the story is well written, the cast of characters are not only fun, but likable, and the gameplay is superb. While I have not yet completed the game, I find myself constantly doing all the side missions, talking to all the characters, and just roaming around trying to create utterly ridiculous chaos in as complex a way as I can. The city that they've built just feels alive, because the NPCs feel like they're people. They don't just walk from point A to point B. They actually interact, both with you and with each other. You come across unique situations where people are fighting or having deep conversations about their favorite drinks. You have a panhandler who flips you off because you took a selfie with them. The police will arrest individuals breaking the law. You could pet all the puppies. It's all built together so well that it just makes you feel like you're a part of the world and not the ruler of it. Of course, my main way of clearing out the bad areas now is just to call in a gang hit on one guard, then call the cops on the guy doing the hit, and then just kind of rinse and repeat until an all-out war breaks out. Then I could just kind of stroll in and do what I need to do. So that's it. I hope that everyone's 2016, at the very least game-wise, has been phenomenal for them. And here's to 2017 being full of more enjoyment and hope and just good, happy feelings. Adios.